Did you know that more than 60% of people still believe in miracles? It's amazing with all our science today, right? It's an interesting question. How do we match the belief in miracles with our science, which explains almost everything? That's a real puzzle.
Very interesting, Michelle. Even with all our science, people still believe in miracles, even scientists. A study showed some scientists believe in things we can't explain. Maybe our science tools can't find everything. It's possible science has things it can't see.
Yes, Guy. Think about the placebo effect. Just believing a treatment works can help people get better. It's amazing for human psychology and a puzzle for science. It shows how belief and real results mix. We might ask, is this a kind of miracle, or is science just beginning to learn what the mind can do?
That's a good point, Ryan. Think about cases where people get better from serious sickness when doctors said they wouldn't. They call these unexplained miracles. Could they be from unknown things in our genes, or do they show things we don't know about human biology? It's important to think about the limits of current science.
These talks make us ask, are miracles just science we don't get yet, or are they something science can't explain? What if science and miracles are different ways of looking at the same thing? Could this mean we need to think more deeply, both in philosophy and science? Here's an interesting idea. Did you know that many important scientific discoveries were once thought of as magic? Like the compass. It seemed like a magic tool until we learned about magnetism. Maybe today's miracles are just science we don't understand yet.
You're right, Michelle. Think about dark matter and dark energy. They make up most of the universe, but we can't see them. Scientists are trying hard to find them. Maybe they are like miracles we don't understand. What if we need a new way of thinking about these things?
Yes, Guy. Let's talk about quantum mechanics. Remember the double-slit experiment? It showed particles change when we look at them. That seemed like magic, but now it's a big part of quantum theory. Maybe modern miracles are like that, or maybe we can't fully understand everything.
Interesting, Ryan. There are cases where cancer goes away without explanation. Science can't always explain why. Maybe we're missing important biological information, or maybe these cases help us understand health in new ways, possibly with new science we haven't explored yet.
These examples make me wonder, are miracles just future scientific discoveries, or are they outside what science can explain? Maybe we need to mix science with philosophy to understand these things. What if we need new ways to prove things scientifically and accept uncertainties in our journey? Could this lead to new exploration that changes what we believe and know as evidence? Here's an amazing fact. Even with our advances in genetic science, about 98% of our DNA is called junk because we don't understand it yet. Is it possible that this part of our DNA could do things we think are miracles? What if this junk contains secrets, like old myths that told truths we didn't know until later?
Interesting idea, Michelle. Epigenetics is already showing us that things around us can turn genes on and off, which can seem like a miracle. It's a complex science that is only just beginning to show how our genes can change over time with non-genetic factors. It's like having a secret code that is powerful once we understand it. What do you think this means for our future understanding of human potential?
True, Guy. There are cases where cancer goes away on its own, and some say it's due to less stress or better diet. But it's still a mystery. Science tries to find answers, often thinking non-random changes in genes might explain it. It's like when early astronomers thought stars were gods because they didn't understand them yet. How do we stay humble, but also hungry to learn?
Absolutely, Ryan. I read a study about people beating serious diseases against all odds. Researchers think these cases might show us unknown defenses in our bodies. Could these events teach science, turning today's miracles into tomorrow's facts? Didn't many ancient healing methods seem magical at first, but later became known as real procedures?
Makes me think, could our new knowledge make miracles normal? Or will some things always be beyond science? Maybe this journey is not just about learning, but about talking about what we can measure and what we feel. Are we always going after a changing goal that makes us use science and rethink beliefs, like the Samkhya philosophy that talks about cycles instead of straight progress in science? What if our biggest mistake is thinking belief and facts are separate? Here's an interesting thought. In the past, people thought many things were miracles until science explained them. For example, people once believed lightning was from the gods. Now we know it is electricity. But what about things we can't explain yet? Are they miracles or just things science hasn't solved?
Good point, Michelle. Think about ball lightning, a strange thing that still confuses scientists. Even after many years, these glowing balls don't fit our science models. They might be a natural thing we don't understand, or they could be beyond our current technology. Could this change our science ideas?
Exactly, Guy. Trepanation is another interesting example people use to drill holes in the skull to relieve pressure. It seems simple, but studies show it often worked well. Could looking at old medical practices help us understand miracle cures today? And maybe show us where modern medicine might be missing something?
Funny you mentioned that, Ryan. Trepanation shows how something that seems miraculous can have a logical explanation. Also, many old cultures used herbal medicine, which science now finds useful. Could some of today's miracles come from natural methods that science hasn't fully recognized yet?
This makes us think deeper. Are old miracles like ball lightning and trepanation just waiting for science to catch up? Do they show that what seems like a miracle is just science we don't know yet? Or do they need us to look at science in new ways? Could this help us see new things where history and science meet, giving us new ideas on today's mysteries? Could this mix of history and science change what we think is possible? Did you know that some African tribes still do rainmaking ceremonies and say they work well? With all our weather technology, isn't it surprising that people still use these old methods? Do these ceremonies show a link between belief, the environment, and results?
Fascinating, Michelle. Experts have written about rainmaking in many areas. Some think the success is just luck with weather instead of real influence. But these ceremonies help the community, which helps farming. Isn't it interesting how culture and real results mix? Maybe the rituals are more about helping people work together than changing the weather.
Right, Guy? Studies show that strong belief can help people work better as a group. For example, during the Apollo missions, Kennedy's goal of reaching the moon inspired people. Do these traditions help communities stay focused and work hard, making good things happen? Didn't belief help the scientific community with space technology?
Absolutely, Ryan. In some places, the placebo effect is like these cultural practices. It shows that belief can change real-world results. Rainmaking might not change weather, but it helps people use resources better. Maybe we don't see how much these practices help with community and environment? They might teach us about using land well, something modern ways could learn from.
This makes us ask, are rainmaking practices just old superstitions or smart cultural systems that science hasn't understood yet? Could accepting cultural views of science help us learn more about our effect on nature? Maybe we need to ask if combining belief and science can help us understand how powerful we are. What if exploring these areas can change environmental policies and cultural knowledge, pushing us to see what's really possible?